Hello, welcome to Indie Tutorials. My name is Guillermo and I would like to thank the patrons supporting this channel. Now that we have the battle system explained, we need to create now this battle animation schematic that is going to be executed when the ability is performed. So what we need to do is just to do a call function like we did before. Let's link the nodes up. Then in the node itself we need to leave the class origin to component. The component class name of course is going to be Manimal for Malbers Animal Controller. And then the function name is going to be mode set active, or sorry, mode activate. And the mode that we want to activate, we have three parameters to pass, or three options. We need to select the first one, which is the integer option, and so we need to create a parameter here, and it's going to be of type int, and the value we need to pass here is the index or the ID, sorry, of the mode itself. So in this case we are going to call the cast spell, and if I remember we had that one, the ID of this cast spell, to be 77. Let me confirm, yes. So we need to type that here, 77. Okay, so let me see. Okay, the target object we need to leave it as it is, it doesn't matter. The caveat though is that ORK Framework does not know how long the animation clip is. In the meantime I will rename this node to be cast spell, something like that, so we know what it's doing actually, because mode activate is not, or call function is not really helpful. But I was mentioning that yeah, ORK Framework doesn't know when the animation is finishing, or the length of the animation. So workaround to checking that is getting to see the clip itself and see the length of the clip. In this case, if we go to and we scroll up the way to the end of the clip, we can see the length is about 2.26 seconds and so on. So as a workaround, what we can do is to make a wait node here, and let's make it wait for 2.26 seconds. That way we can make sure that the next node after the wait will be executed after the animation clip ended. So the next thing we need to do is to call the calculate action. So this is going to be the outcome of the ability itself, whether it produces damage to the enemy or it misses the action, something like that. At this point you could, if you wanted, add more next steps, like if you got out of critical, or it was missing, or use block for example, and for example if it's miss the action you could add another mode ID call, for example animation with face palm or something like that. I miss the target, something like that, or an audio clip, whatever you want here. But I will leave it as it is for the time being and the purpose of getting this tutorial short. Let's save the schematic and let's put it under our episodes folder, 010, schematics, battle, and let's give it a meaningful name. Let's say for example cast spell schematic, something like that, and click on save. So now that we have this schematic, we need to assign it, of course, to the ability itself. So let's click on the status tab and then go to the abilities. We have this attack ability, and we need to assign this schematic into the battle animations. Let me see, we were talking, yeah, well, this ability was for the real-time battle, so I just changed some of the settings here following the documentation. I believe it was here in the target selection settings. I also removed the damage dealer tag settings that we had previously, and of course I added here the formula to hit chance and so on and so forth. But what we need to do actually here is to go to the battle animation and assign the schematic. So here in the battle animation 0, expand it and assign this new schematic we made. This is where we had previously the damage dealer settings that we removed from the real-time battle. Make sure to save the settings. So now if we go to the combatants settings itself, remember that this attack ability in the Steve, I renamed the hero combatant to Steve and the skeleton to Skinny. So in the attacks and abilities, if you scroll down, you can see that if you wanted to add more abilities, you just need to add here add ability. But in this case, this attack ability is acting as the base attack for this combatant. So if you go to override settings, base attack, and we have on base attack, there is where we set this attack ability. So let's say the settings again, just in case. Regarding the victory animation, I did try to make it work with the animations settings here in the ORK framework, like having a custom settings and call the mode ID like we did before by using this class name and function name, but it didn't work at all. So I tried to do like combatant animation, so it's supposed to call this animation settings here by using this node down below, combat animation. And when we call this animation from here, it's supposed to run this custom function call, I would say, but it didn't work. I guess it at the time that the battle is running or something, I don't know, it's lose track whether this is the player component, I don't know, to be honest. But don't waste your time, it doesn't work, bottom line. So the workaround to make the victory animation, because it doesn't work either if you try to call it from the battle end event. So let's reuse, we added in the previous videos a tick machine over here, and it's running this test, Malbers test schematic. So what we can do, we added this in order to test calling the modes from inputs or from ORK Framework itself. So what we can do is to reuse this schematic instead, and in the tick machine we can check the battle outcome. So if the battle outcome, of course, is victory, then we play the mode. We know that this is working from here without any problems. Okay, so what we need to do is let's make some room here, and from the settings itself, let's call the battle outcome node. Check battle outcome, and you can see that it already contains all the possible outcomes a battle can have: none, victory, escape, defeat, leave arena. So what we can do here is reuse the victory or use the victory outcome. So let's copy this call function for the mode action we had, and let's link it up with the victory. And here in this call function, which is already working, we have already the animal component and the mode activate call function, and it's already set to 99. So I guess this was from my previous test. Indeed, so it's already set up. 99 will call this animation. Let me just override the node name so we have something more meaningful here. So make sure to link it up to the victory outcome, and let's make a copy, and now make a call here for the defeat mode. Of course, I have not set up the enemy for turn-based attacks, and that's the reason is the skeleton will not attack us, so we cannot really test the defeat in this case, but it should work. So in this case the ID is 88, and let's save this schematic, but let's first of all disable these other inputs. Again, this is a workaround. I mean, I don't think it's really an issue to have a tick machine checking the battle outcome. So let's check it up here in the hero itself, and the tick machine is already pointing to this Malbers test schematic. You can rename it or make your own, of course. So now let's test this out. We are in the field scene where the battle is supposed to start, right? So let's make more space here, and let's hit play. There is the skeleton wandering, so let's get close to him to start the battle. And you can see we have the menu, the battle menu with the cursor, like I explained in the UI tutorial. There is the cursor also in the enemy, and here is our cast spell. Of course, I didn't add any visual effects or anything like that, or sounds. This is totally our scope of integration itself, and there we go. Yeah, we won the victory animation. So one thing I wanted to talk about is that when I went to the developer of Malbers requesting or asking about how to implement turn-based features, or how to integrate Malbers with turn-based battles, the answer was you don't, or stay away of that. It's complex. So we are better off using the custom system or whatever, but not to use the Malbers components. And after, of course, receiving that kind of answer, I don't feel like continuing with the series itself. I think we have good background in order to proceed with this, let's say, workarounds by calling modes IDs or state IDs. But personally, I won't use it for turn-based battles either. ORK Framework offers a possibility to have a secondary and optional prefab, so if you were to use turn-based battle, you could use that optional prefab, which is already set up with legacy animations, even because our framework works pretty good with legacy animations for turn-based type of battles. Well, after being said that, I think that I will move on to the next integration, or not integration, but like the series says, how to. So how to use a third-party asset work with ORK Framework. I have a list of lot of assets that I'm thinking of. For example, dialogue system. I see really interest in this game kit controller as well. So let's do that. Anyways, thank you all for the support and watching these videos.